Takeover Insights, the podcast by and with Judith Geiß. Are you and your company affected by a takeover? Then you have come to the right place. Judith Geiß is the expert on American takeovers in the German-speaking region. She shares valuable tips and tricks with you and shows you how to leverage this change for yourself and your company. This podcast is also for you if you want to take over a company in a German-speaking region. It's time to take the chance. Today is a very special day for me, an important day to celebrate. There is every reason to do so. A quick question for you. When was the last time you celebrated? Many years ago, I was affected by a US takeover. Some of you avid listeners may already know this. We had a great team in accounting back then, and we gave it our all. If we had known then what I have experienced, things would have been much easier for us. But where could we have forgotten that knowledge back then? Ever since, the subject had me hooked. From the very beginning, I was convinced that there must be ways to improve post-merger integration. This has been my guiding principle when supporting employees and leaders as an interim manager, project manager, or mentor after a US takeover. When I first gained my own experience with a US corporation, I often thought about my professional future. But I would never have imagined that one day I would write about how leaders and employees can better navigate the integration process after such a corporate takeover. Now the time has finally come, and now I will also reveal the reason to celebrate. My book, Blueprint of a Takeover, is now available in English. You can find the link, as always, in the show notes. For me, this book is another personal milestone in turning my vision of a systematic, cooperative merging of two companies into reality. My goal for you and everyone else is to be better prepared for what follows after a US takeover. You can avoid mistakes and focus more effectively on your personal future. You will gain orientation in a process that takes many months and requires a lot of effort from everyone involved. Even though I am an expert in international accounting with a passion for numbers, data, and facts, I will leave the field of post-merger integration to other authors who have already filled entire bookshelves on this topic. Of course, the many new financial statements with their tight deadlines are shaping the picture of post-merger integration, especially in accounting. However, this challenge would be manageable if it weren't for the many changing conditions occurring simultaneously. In my book, you will learn what it means for employees and leaders that post-merger integration is a massive change process. In this process, it is not primarily the numbers that determine the success of the company. What is decisive is how both sides deal with completely different cultures. All I have to do is mention Daimler Chrysler. We all know how that merger turned out. Contradictory expectations, routines, and demands clashing into languages with different working hours. And that alone is contributing to a very special dynamic. Many only realize what this means when they are in the middle of it. But you should not feel like a tsunami came over you. For my blueprint of a takeover, I have defined 9 building blocks that you can systematically implement. You will start with an inventory, form your success teams for the integration, and create a project plan. Along the way, you will receive many tips on how to handle bottlenecks, how to adapt your daily work to the new situation, and where to expect stumbling blocks so that you can act even faster. So with the next episode, we are starting that very special podcast series, and I hope you will tune in again. Have a good week. Until next week, Judith. If you enjoyed this episode and found the tips and suggestions helpful, we would appreciate it if you could recommend the podcast to others. Additionally, you can help spread the word about the podcast by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for your support. You don't know how to write a review on Apple Podcasts? Then I have good news for you, because please follow the link on the show notes and you will find detailed information how to do that. Thank you very much.